There's something about that song that captures a feeling that probably we've all experienced. Sitting in front of a TV, watching something that you don't really care about. Scrolling on your phone, just realizing you're mindlessly just spinning through social media. There's no purpose, there's no meaning. And it's funny how we can have these moments and we don't even realize they're there until you have a moment that kind of points them out. You realize how much of our life is dust in the wind. How much of it is lacking meaning. Or it can. There's this idea in our world that says when you have purpose, it's kind of like your eyes come up a little bit. You know that feeling? It's not just like, It's like, wait a second, I'm trying to get someplace. I'm trying to go someplace. And we've all had that. If you go into grade school, your teachers gave you purpose. They said you need to graduate. So you're like, okay, well, go do my class, show up, do my homework, until you hit grade 12. And all of a sudden you're looking around going, okay, but now what? For those of you who've retired, you know that feeling. You've done this job where you had purpose. You go in to do something, to get something accomplished. And then one day you have the party and the farewell, and you wake up one morning in your bed and you're thinking, what's my life about? What's my purpose? Any main time of our life where there's a big shift, it's often purpose. That's the thing we've lost. I was talking to someone recently. His children suffered from a certain illness. He has a purpose of raising money for that cause, for that specific part of his life. It gets him up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day to train. That's purpose. Parents who get up early to feed their kids and get them off to school or wherever you are in the journey, that's purpose. And when you're missing that purpose, when you don't have that purpose, when life is just, I'm just killing time, I'm just putting in time, there's nothing I need to do, there's nothing that means anything, it seems to be hard on our souls. There's a story from our tradition, a guy named Peter. He's gone fishing. Now, fishing seems very purposeful to us, but think of it differently. They don't have social media, they don't have Netflix. So fishing for him was kind of like zoning out in front of the TV. It's the thing he knew. He didn't have to think about it. He didn't have to pay attention. Because you know what? He woke up one day and his purpose was gone. The person he was following, Jesus, was just murdered. And he woke up going, like, what is my life even about? What is my purpose? Now in the story, a character shows up, and it's in the resurrected moments. The Jesus story, we have the murder, then we have the resurrection. When Jesus shows up again, oftentimes people don't recognize him. It's not the same as before. And Peter doesn't recognize either, and Jesus says, no, it's me. And we don't quite know why this is. But Peter goes, is it you? And Jesus says, Peter, do you love me? Peter says, of course. Like, I gave everything for you. I'm despondent right now. I'm dust in the wind right now because you're not here. And Jesus says, if you love me, you'll take water to the people I care about. You'll make sure they have clothing if they need it, and food if they need it. Your purpose will be that you will take care of the people I love like I did. Will you do that? And Peter went from hopeless, scrolling social media for lack of a better term, to saying, I have purpose again. And it's that purpose that drove a lot of our community. 21 people, plus a whole ton more who donated, who volunteered to be a part of Friends Church so that these trips can happen, so that we could go down to Mexico because we have a purpose to make life better for people who need it. Now that purpose started beautifully. We all got to the airport, 21 of us, all in our matching shirts. We looked great. Thank you, Kennedy, for our shirts. And then we got loaded onto a plane, and then we sat on that plane for 6.5 hours before they canceled it, and we went home, and we went, wait a second. But the purpose was enough. We knew why we were there. And even though I was ready to kill the person sitting next to me because they did not have enough arm room, and the travel gods did not seem happy with us that day, we finally made it all the way down to Ensenada, Mexico, to fulfill that very same thing. Would you take water to the people who need it? Esmond, can you play the video for me?
Thank you guys, and a hug to all of you.
No te lo vamos a olvidar.
We never forget this.
Yeah. We all did that. But there's a part of the story, there's the house and seeing the kids and the excitement and having a roof over their head, and it's beautiful, but there's a part of the story you don't know. And there's a part of the story that I want you to see so you know what you did this year. You see, this one's a little hard for me, so I'm going to get emotional quite a few times during this. I went into their house, which is, we would call it a shack. It's made of pallets wrapped in tar paper. They open up some of the tar paper, they peel it back, and that's the window. Esmeralda is standing there, and she's this gorgeous woman. Her skin is like, I am so jealous of the color of her skin. Her teeth are bright white, and she's got this she's soft, and yet when she barks, the kids jump, and she's like that mom side, but there's still something fragile in her. And she was making tortillas. There's a tear running down her cheek. There's no place to sit. There's just a bed and a cooler. And it's me and Gregorio, the translator. And she starts telling me her story. And her story is so heartbreaking. You see, she grew up in this area, but like most families in this area, it's a blended family. She has stepsisters, siblings, half-siblings. They live together, sometimes not apart. And there's so much animosity between them. Her dad and her mom are at each other's throats. Her dad's abusing her mom. They move and they move and they move. Constantly trying to find a place that's safe, a place to live. She tells me the day that she says to her mom, I will not sleep in the same bed with you and your boyfriend because he's hurting me at night. And I'm just gutted. Her mom left her dad because, again, abuse. And they moved. At one point, they're in a bus station sleeping on the benches. And her mom is rifling through her purse. She pulls out random pieces of paper and she sees phone numbers. She doesn't even know who they are. And they start calling and saying, can we stay with you? Is there a place we can live? Her godparents say yes. So the family moves in with them. But the godparents' kids don't like Esmeralda. And she's abused by the very people who swore before God, I will take care of you. Her godparents. And so they left. They finally go to a place where they've established a home. There's no shelters in Mexico, not in this area. It's not like if you're an abused mother with children, you can go to a shelter and somebody will help you. There's nothing. All you have is people taking you in. And every person who took them in, it was like there's this string attached. When she finally told her mom, and she told me, I'll always remember how wooden her voice was. As she told me all the people who had abused her. She never once stopped making tortillas. It was like this was so natural to her that it was just part of life. And as the tear dripped down her cheek, the thought in my head was, how do you live through this? When she was 12, she said to her mom, I will not sleep in the same bed with your boyfriend anymore. Her mom got mad at her. You're being a troublemaker. Because in their culture, if something happens, we no longer have a place to sleep. And you hear the choice between safety and abuse and a place to live. I am on the edge the whole time. Finally, she grabs her bin of tortillas. She'd made tortillas or burritos for everybody. And it's kind of like, without even realizing the gravity of what's she's told me, she takes them out to the team and says, these are for the team, and she leaves. And I'm sitting there, I can't even, the idea of eating, I'm so sick to my stomach at this moment. How could people live this way? I step out, and the translator, Gregorio, is right there, and I say to him, and I'm like, I remember my voice. It's like pleading. I'm like, tell me this is a one-off story. Tell me this is just, I got the worst one, and I'm just going to have to deal with this. And he's got tears going down his cheek too. And he's like, I'm crying because her story is my mom's story. I told my mom that he was abusing me, and she said, you're being a troublemaker. Even though he was the person who was beating the mom, he was the person who spent all their money, was gambling and drinking, she still didn't believe him. They didn't talk to each other for 20 years. This is life in this area of town, this area of Mexico. The thought that was in my head over and over again was, when does this beautiful, incredible mom, when has she ever felt safe? When? I'm sitting in a shack with a blanket for a door and tar paper for walls. They don't get up at night to go to the bathroom because there's scorpions and spiders. We were picking stones for her garden, which is just a rock bed. We're picking stones, and all of a sudden, Fernando, the dad's starts yelling, and we go over and he realizes he's got 2 scorpions on his shovel right in the stones that we were just picking. Suddenly we're all like this, huh? From then on, every stone was, I think that one's safe. This is their life every day. They don't even get out of bed without checking the floor, the dirt floor. They keep a blanket over top of their bed that's hung like this. So when the spiders drop off the roof, they don't land in bed while they're sleeping. When have you ever felt safe? When I first met Esmeralda and Fernando, I was trying to be charming as I get. And I said, when you met, I was saying to Esmeralda through the translator, when you met Fernando, was he handsome? Was he guapa? That's technically the term that's pronounced poorly, but whatever. Was he handsome? And she laughs and she's like, oh, when we first met, we were both working cutting flowers in a field. And so we were wearing pieces of cloth wrapped around our face. For 2 years, I didn't even know what he looked like. He didn't even know what I looked like. We became friends first. She was 12 when she said, I will no longer sleep in the same bed as your boyfriend. She was 12 when she said, I want the money that I'm making in the fields. She's 12 years old, cutting flowers next to adults. I want part of that money. And when she was 14, she left home. It wasn't safe. 2 years later, her and Fernando got together. 3 years after that, they had Fernanda. 2 years after that, Malin. Now they live in a small shack with a dirt floor. I remember later on in the day, I got them both to come in and they sat down on the bed. I sat on the cooler because there was no other furniture. And I started off with the normal questions. How is this house going to change your life? Right? The pastor of the group that's building your house, what kind of an answer do you think I got for that? I realized after about 2 of those kind of questions, I was like, these are bad questions. And then I asked a question that had been on my heart since that morning. Where have you ever felt safe? I remember them both looking at the translator as he translated what I said. And they both looked at me and instantly went like this. Aquí. Here. They pointed to the dirt floor between their feet, wrapped in a pallet shack with tar paper around it, where they have to make sure that they don't have to get out of bed because of spiders and scorpions. Where their shower was a bucket that they fill with water next to the bed, and they splash themselves. A key right here. Because there's no strings attached. This is ours. And it's on that land that we built them a house. For the first time, they have a cement floor. I know it doesn't sound like a big idea, but if you ever get a chance, go down. Standing in a shack with a dirt floor and realizing a family of 4 live there, it'll change you. A key right here is where we felt safe for the first time. What we did is we brought them a door that locks. They decide who comes and goes. The door keeps the spiders and the scorpions out. The snakes, a week earlier, they found a snake just down like on the corner of the thing. The girls are playing. They found a snake. I'm like, sweet mother. They called the neighbors to come kill it. They said, actually, it's good eating. We'll eat that. A key. For the first time since Fernando was born, they will have their own beds. The girls got their own beds. They've never slept in their own bed before. They were so happy. But more than all of that, it was a key. This is the place that's safe. This is ours. That is our home. I kept watching Fernando. I don't know if this is a thing that makes sense to me. He would stand outside of his house and just look at it, memorizing every bit. I was like, oh, I could feel myself doing the same thing in my house. The first time Esmeralda turned on the light in her bedroom. They don't have lights in their shack. The smile on her face. I think we should probably budget for a new light switch because those girls, they were so excited. Here is where we feel safe. That's what we brought to this family. Now that parcel of land that they have, the rock bed, I'm not even sure how they got a cement pad poured in there. We would not have, like structural engineering or the substrate engineering was not, this wasn't their first pick. There's another place that they could have bought that was down the way. It had a better view. It was gorgeous. The whole land is gorgeous, but theirs overlooking the ocean, it was stunning. They said, no, we picked this for a reason. When I asked Fernando, he said within 2 to 4 years, Esmeralda quite quickly corrected him, no, in 3 years, buddy. He was very much a one-word kind of guy. She would add the color. In 3 years, they planned to build a taco stand. They picked this neighborhood because it's an up-and-coming neighborhood where there's a whole bunch of people like them showing up. And if you're in a small area in Mexico, what do you need? A taco stand. Fernando's like, no, we're going to build a taco stand. Esmeralda, she has to walk 40 minutes to the school with her daughters and then 40 minutes back. Right now what she does is she'll make little bags of Jell-O and she sells them to school kids. Carries, that's what I was sitting on. That's the cooler I was sitting on. She fills it up and carries it 40 minutes and then sells on the way back. No, she'll be able to work with Fernando in the taco stand. The girls, when they're finished school or when they're outside of school, instead of having to be someplace that's not safe, they can come work with dad and mom. Fernando's got a plan to take care of his family, to build something better. The land was the first. The house was the second. And now that they have that energy behind them, they are ready to change their lives. That's what we did in Mexico this year. And I got to say, I'm pretty proud of what we did. I don't think you guys just want to hear me talk about this, though. So I've asked 6 of our community to come up, share with you a little bit of what this story meant to them. And then we're going to do a few more things. Come on up. Joe, Amy. I'll start with you, Amy. Amy actually co-led the trip this year. How'd it go?
It was great. It was, aside from Wednesday morning and the snowstorm.
Yeah, that
so
was
if
a
we
rough
could have
start,
arranged that
wasn't
a
it?
little better.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Tell me a little bit about your experience coming there. You said you watched Esmeralda and her kids. How did that impact you as a mom of 2 girls, seeing another mom of 2 girls?
Yeah, it's interesting because those girls are similar ages to my girls, right? So I find as a mom, I think about like, for me, I don't know, this sounds and is so privileged. It's so easy. It's like, of course they're going to have their own beds, right? But you see the same, like it's the exact same love, of course, in Esmeralda. We're all the exact same, and you watch her kids, and like she wants that, but I don't think she even really knew that could be a possibility. So seeing her and seeing Fernando kind of, I feel like you could just see them suddenly go, okay, we have like a little bit more hope.
Yeah.
We have more hope for the future, and our girls have more hope for the future, and they can become something.
Isn't that incredible?
So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Joe? Sure. Now for you're a fellow renovator, so you probably started renovating with a small project in your house here in Calgary.
Yeah, just one small project.
Just one. It's been going how many years now?
Oh, how long have we owned the house?
A very long time.
7 years, yeah.
Now, along the way, you learned a bunch of skills,
Sure.
drywall,
Yeah.
electrical,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me did it feel to use those hobbies
Yeah.
now as a way to take water in a way that felt very different?
Yeah, it really got me thinking about how, like you just said, like it's a hobby. Like it's not, we don't need an updated kitchen. We don't need, the lights and the switches and the outlets rearranged in our basement storage area. Like these are frivolities in some sense.
Right.
And I also didn't need to learn any of that stuff myself. Like we could have just had somebody else do it.
Yeah.
But I have the time and the privilege to be able to, and
you too.
And so I did, and it's a hobby. But then going down there and then seeing like the first time when we had the girls come in, when we had the electrical all working, and like you said with the light switch, and just their eyes light up when they saw they could flip this on and for the first time in their lives have a light in their bedroom and a light in the main room and a light in their mom and dad's room. That was a magical kind of moment and really like reframed a lot of my understanding of privilege.
Yeah.
Like I carry a lot of privilege based on my station in our society. And there's nothing that I can do that'll ever change how much privilege I have. Like that's set. Like I'm a fairly well-off white cis hetero male in a developed country. So the only thing I really can control is what do I choose to do with that privilege. I could leverage it to keep accumulating more within our family, or I could take up the responsibility that presents to change some other people's lives.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, you guys. Okay. Next, I'm going to have Addison and Randall. Addison, I'm going to start with you. Okay. You showed up, so our teams got separated. We missed our flight, so we had to overnight in San Diego. You guys got there first thing.
Yeah.
Tell me what it felt like to roll in on the bus the first thing and to meet the family.
It was like when you drove up to the job site, you could immediately see like the smiles and like the happiness on their faces, just knowing that they are finally getting the house that they well over deserved.
Yeah. How are the girls? Were they strange with you guys at all at the beginning?
No. They were immediately in our arms, hugging us, wanting to get to know us, and
Totally.
like wanting us to play with them, go see their house and like all the toys that they had.
Yeah, I love it. Tell me how that impacted you to see, again, this moment of like we show up to a job site and suddenly there's so much potential there. How did that impact you?
It was like, they opened their doors with welcoming arms and like let us learn about their family and like everything that they've been through and like how they still trust people and like want a better life for themselves.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Randall? Now, Randall, you were the other co-lead of the trip, so you took on a lot of responsibility for this one.
Didn't take it, was forced.
Not by me, we're going to throw that one on Jeff, but you did an incredible job, both
Thank
you
you.
and Amy. Tell me what it's like, because this is your third year coming down with
Yes.
Addison, right?
Yeah.
What is it like to be a dad watching their daughter take water like this? How does that impact you?
Well, it's just seeing the look on her face, just seeing the kids and just naturally gravitating towards her. That's been her whole life. And just seeing it out in the public, out in the open, just made me feel real proud as a dad of, okay, we've done this.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing feeling.
When you think back to kind of the highlights of your life together, does this one rank, these builds rank as like, these are the ones that really have some legacy to them?
Yeah, just being able to share the experiences with Addison, sharing the life-changing moments, the times when we're working together, hand in hand, building something, has been amazing.
Has she taught you how to mud a corner? Because she's a damn good corner mudder.
I taught her that.
Them fighting words. I'll let you guys deal with that after. Thanks to you guys. Can I get Kennedy and Patrick over here? This is another father-daughter team. I'm going to start with you, Patrick. This is, how many times have you gone down to build houses with us?
7.
7. Incredible. There's a moment you talked about. The reason I asked you to come up here today is you're up on the roof with the other non-vampire people, Nathan, Isaac. You guys were up in the sun building the roof, and someone showed up. Can you tell them a bit about that story?
Yeah, it's midday. It's as hot as it's going to be. We're lifting rafters. We're nailing them by hand. It's tough.
Yeah.
And we already have the Mexican crew with us.
From Baja Bound.
From Baja Bound,
Yeah.
we got their site carpenters and their apprentices. They're up there on the roof. They're helping us. And then now there's another local Mexican up on the roof. And I didn't see him get up there. I didn't know how he got up there. I looked at Nathan. I'm like, do you know who he is? And Nathan's like, I saw him interact with a family. Like, he knows somebody. So we're up there. We're working probably 20 minutes, half an hour. Then Belle's got the girls paint on their hands. They're drawing. They're slapping their hands on the wall. They're drawing hearts, just being cute little 3 and 5-year-olds. Yeah. And I caught a glance of Fernando, and there's unmistakable. That's the dad. Like, you just see him looking down with so much love for his little girls. And it hit me for sure. Cause
that's the guy on the roof with you.
Yeah.
No clue.
No, and I didn't know who he was up to that moment. And then we bonded for sure. Like, he didn't speak English. I didn't speak Spanish, but we worked together for 2 days and for sure bonded. Like, I explained that this is my daughter and those are his daughters, and
so it's like Nino.
Yeah, Nina. Yes, yeah. So it was amazing for me. I've done this 6 times previous, and a lot of the time we don't get to spend time with the dad. He's usually off working, and we see him for the key ceremony or that. It was really special for me to actually be there with him, hands on with him, feel bonded. Like I was explaining earlier, that kind of feels like we went through a war. Like we're teammates, and we all did this together. None of it was necessarily fun, but we all pushed through and we got through it. And
there's something about building together that bonds, doesn't it?
For sure. Yeah. It's the hard work, kind of. We all agreed to endure the suffering and enjoy it. And
it's the purpose.
Yes.
Okay, Kennedy. Now, when you reached out, I asked you what this trip did to you. You talked a bit about the moments there, but you talked actually about how it's changed you.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about that for us?
Yeah, I think a big part of the trip that I didn't realize was going to hit me so hard was embracing that change and like the family dynamic that we had by the end of the trip, because we all kind of got there and we realized, like, from the first meeting I knew where we were going, what situation they were in, but seeing it firsthand once we got there, you could tell that it was a really big eye-opening experience for everyone that came. And I think that really helped us bond. We found a lot of things out about ourselves that we didn't know prior. And yeah, like just being able to see the difference that it made for the family, but then also the difference in our whole team. Having those girls, like I was lucky they were glued to my hip the whole time, and I got to spend the whole trip with them. But like seeing how happy they were, and just like literally they had a Barbie that they shared between the two of them, and that was what they had to play with, but they were never not singing, never not having the time of their lives. So I think, like seeing how privileged I am because I was born in Canada and have the opportunities that I have, and then seeing that these girls don't have those opportunities, but they're making the best of it, and they couldn't be happier. And now they have that support system of their amazing parents. Like, their bond was incredible, and then now they have that house and that safety and security. So
The other day, someone was vacuuming. I live in a condo. They were vacuuming in the hallway, and I realized my door shut and locked. And I realized how special. I've never thought about that I can lock the door and keep people out of my house until I was there. How has that trip come back to your everyday here?
Yeah, and like I was saying, like I knew about their situation, but even like seeing it firsthand and then coming back and like again, I have my own bed, I have my own room, like I have access to so many opportunities because I live here. And like I believe that if those girls had the same access to those opportunities, they'd take it right away. But you know, like having again the support system of my family that they luckily have. But yeah, I think coming back, it makes me appreciate things a lot more. And yeah, like I take a second to notice it now.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah.
I love that. Thanks, you guys. Let's give them a round of applause.